Hello and welcome back to 100 questions we've answered for our clients. Today's question is, are the fees on my 401k high? This is an interesting question because high is obviously a relative statement, but what I think the person is asking here in this question is, what are the associated fees in a 401k account? Many people think that a 401k is just a workplace benefit that maybe you don't pay for, but don't understand all of the underlying fees in a 401k account. So I'm going to walk through what a couple of those different fees are. First and foremost, there's going to be an admin or a record-keeping fee. So obviously, having a 401k on a specific platform, that service is going to cost something. These fees generally are not overly expensive, but there is some fee associated. Then we have to also think about any recurring service fees, like each individual participant's account may cost $50 per year. Generally, that fee is also going to be passed on to you as the investor in the account. One of the primary fees that can add up and can be relatively expensive relative to your other alternative investment options are the actual underlying expense ratios on the investment vehicles inside of your 401k. So for many people, when they enroll in their 401k, they pick a different investment option like a target date fund or a mutual fund or an exchange traded fund. Most of the time, the expense ratio is listed when you select that investment, but most people don't often take the time to understand how that expense ratio may actually affect their accumulation of assets over time. So let's take an example of an expensive underlying fee and a relatively cheap underlying fee. If the underlying investment vehicles in your 401k are exchange traded funds, an index fund, for example, oftentimes we'll see fees as low as 5 basis points or 0.05% to own the broad market index like the S&P 500. We would say that this fee is relatively low, all things considered. Now, you may own those same S&P 500 type companies, but it could be in a large cap core mutual fund, for example. Those fees could be as high as 1% or 1.5% if there's an active management element, depending on the different type of mutual fund you'd be invested in. Now, if you think about it, this is 20 to 30 times more expensive on the underlying investment vehicle fee for the mutual fund relative to the exchange traded fund. In that instance, we would say, yeah, the underlying fees are pretty high in your 401k. So oftentimes people are asking this question not to avoid utilizing their 401k, but perhaps they're at the end of their time working at a workplace and their 401k is eligible for a rollover. In that instance, you may want to consider rolling over your previous 401k into an individual retirement account and work with your advisor on minimizing those underlying fees and making sure that all the investment vehicles inside of your IRA, that the fees are appropriate for the account.